Hello, hello. Hi, Jim.
Well, hello. Hold on one second. Is this not the? Oops. See, some people have different links.
Do you want me to go do it from the email? I did it from your Discuss website.
And that one,
Did you
right?
did you want me to do it from an email?
No, I think it'll be
Okay.
fine. I got a message from Sandy, so I guess I gave him the wrong one. That's not good. Let me just make sure everywhere all at once.
Usually I use his email.
Okay, yeah, the one on Discuss is right. I guess the one I gave to Sandy was wrong. Oh no. Hopefully. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Josh is in here. Well, hello. We'll give everybody about 5 minutes or so before we get
You
started.
can
Still give it. Well,
Hey, can you hear me?
yeah. Hey, Levi.
How's it going?
Great.
when I clicked on the link that Sandy gave us, it asked me did I want to join the meeting again, so I guess it's all right.
Yeah, I just gave Sandy the right one. So hopefully he'll be in here. Otherwise, everybody's showing up to my meeting tomorrow. Because that's put a piece of the wrong one in there. I think I have the right one here, don't I? Everywhere except the one I sent to Sandy. Perfect. Ta-da. Here we go. Waiting for some extra people. I feel like Sandy will be here. For sure.
I made it late. This is Nick.
Oh, Mitch, welcome.
In case you didn't notice my picture up there.
Yes. Here.
I'm sure everyone's here all at once and everywhere.
Chat can go over here. Yes. I was just gonna passively watch it last night while I did work, but yeah, I could not turn away
Oh,
from it.
good luck on trying that with this film.
And then I wanted to make sure I remembered everybody's name, and so I had captions on, and I was like this the whole time, like for 2.5 hours. Just couldn't. I love it. I think it's a great film.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Even the first time I watched it, it kept me to the screen, and even though I didn't catch necessarily everything I caught on a rewatch, it's one of those things where you're always catching more, which to me is phenomenal. Writing.
Yeah, there's so much in it. Yeah, and I thought we had done a story form for it 2 years ago, but it's nowhere to be found. So, I've never really seen iRobot, and I know somebody asked for this last time at the end. So, I'd much rather do this than iRobot. I feel like iRobot took about 20 minutes, and then we're done. This one at least has some difficult things to figure out. I think. Who knows? It could be super easy. I wonder. Oh, okay. Sandy just opened it a minute ago, so hopefully he'll be here. Oh no, that was me. Oh, hopefully he'll be here. I feel like I should wait for him just in case. And we'll get started. Oh, I should probably.
Especially since he was the one who asked about it.
I know.
I know he sent out a notice.
Yeah, but I think he sent out. I gave him the wrong link. I accidentally sent the one
Oh,
meeting I have tomorrow. But I sent him the right one, so hopefully. But he might be contacting other people. I'll give him 2 more minutes. At 7:10, I'll get started. I wonder. I should probably do this. What is I can't remember my own password. Yeah, okay. I'll just use this. All right. I guess no Sandy. That makes me sad. Perhaps he'll show up. All right. Well, morning recording, so we will get started. Welcome everybody to the June 2024 Dramatica Users Group analysis. Tonight, we are going to be looking at everything, everywhere, all at once, and seeing if we can find the story form for what I thought was a great film. Usually we start out with the 4 through lines. So why don't we start out with the 4 through lines and discuss and pontificate about what they are. And we'll start with the objective story through line. So what is the objective story through line of everything, everywhere, all at once?
a woman who thinks of everything all the time, everywhere at once, must find, must save the world by finding joy.
How about just straightening out the universes?
Straightening out the universes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick's one is almost like almost all of 4 through lines at once. I'll put that up there. Straightening out the universes. What else? What other plot? Any specifics beyond that?
Stopping the destruction of the universe through the bagel hole.
I don't know if it's so much the destruction of the universe, I feel like that was more just the destruction of that character, right? I don't think she was trying to destroy the universe. I could be wrong.
Right, she wasn't trying to, but that was the practical effect of the
Yeah.
bagel sucking in everything, her putting everything onto the bagel.
Sandy is here. Hello, Sandy.
Hi. Hey there.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to get emails out to people. Who do we have? Or, hang on. I'm actually oh, hang on. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, Nick's here. Guy named Albert's supposed to join us. I don't I'm waiting to see if he got the updated link. Let me see. I'm just watching my email for, oh, Nick, thanks for sending that over. I did.
Right, just in case.
Yeah. But I did get from Jim. So sorry, my I'm on my phone and for some reason I have a hard time yeah. Can you see me?
No.
No, I don't know why my phone has doesn't like to use the camera. It's anyway, so sorry if you can't see me.
No.
There's a setting there
Yeah, well,
you got to click on.
Well, and I do, and then it clicks itself off again. Okay. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry about that. Here's Albert.
Oh, good. I'm glad he got good.
Yeah, and line put in the chat, immigrant mom. We're just doing the objective story through line right now. Immigrant mom must stop psycho-nihilist rampage. That's actually not too bad.
Good. Psycho-nihilist rampage.
Yeah,
I like that. That's good.
too bad.
Mhm.
Welcome,
Hi, Albert.
I am sorry, I was in the other link.
Me too. So I'm glad you checked your email.
Well, it's interesting because I double checked, like I was trying to figure out what was happening, and then it said that the host had another meeting, that this meeting starts tomorrow. So that's when I thought to go back to the email.
Good. Yeah. All righty. Okay, well, hopefully everybody's here who wants to be here. Yeah.
Yeah. And so far we've done just the objective story through line, which it seems like, is everybody good with immigrant mom must stop psycho-nihilist rampage? Straight down the road. Does that sound pretty good?
Works for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about who's the main character?
Evelyn, because we see the whole story through her eyes everywhere.
All three of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as she sort of figures things out, we're let in on what's going on in the story.
Mm-hmm.
And what's one of her personal issues? Just about her.
I think over
Was she
trying to do too many things.
Levi, you're a little low.
Oh, I just said like distracted and like trying to do too many things, doing too many businesses,
and not succeeding at any of them?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything
Rejection, feeling rejected by her father.
Mm-hmm.
Not only not succeeding, but feeling like she's not succeeding, and not happy with the way her daughters turned out.
And I think also she's had to give up a lot of her dreams, or only done made partial progress towards dreams because because of her roles as daughter, mother, business owner, wife.
Wonderful.
I could have sworn I saw her be a soccer player in there too. No.
She was, and she was animated at one point.
Yeah,
She was,
yeah.
I think she was a corpse in one frame.
She's also a rock.
Well, she was a rock in a lot of frames, but yeah. But they flash these, things that, images at supersonic speed at certain points.
Yeah, it was, like I said, I could not turn away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Obstacle character through line, or in this class, influence character through line.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Buddy?
Well, this is Nick. I vote for Waymond.
Wayman.
I think it's a close. It could have been close between Waymond and maybe Joy, but I think we'll find joy in the relationship. The person who she changed, I think that the MC character, is going to end up being an MC change, and that the person whose attitude she adopts is going to be Waymond's. Her silly husband's.
Oh, so how does Wayman? That's a good question. How does Wayman challenge her?
So he challenges her. First of all, she thinks he's silly, and so he's not very logical, goal-oriented, it seems. Examples of that would be the Google eyes, the baking of the cookies for the IRS auditor, and I'm sure there's some other examples too. He seems to downplay or soft play conflict, and she seems to prefer to either meet it head on or deflect it completely. But she's an either or character, at least initially that way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think there's two contenders for influence character. I mean, I think well, Wayman is one and Joy is the other. And to be honest, I think there's really kind of two relationship through lines going on. One, the A relationship through line and the B relationship through line. And I think there's a different arc for each. And I think the way I see it, the Evelyn Joy relationship is I think the A relationship, and the Evelyn Wayman relationship is the B relationship. And but I mean, we can talk. It appears to me, and this is subject to interpretation, but appears to me that in relationship to Wayman, she is the changed character to his steadfastness, but in relationship to Joy, she ultimately is very steadfast. And from when you see where she ends up at the end, at the final scene at the IRS office, she's pretty much acting the same way she did at the beginning, but this time Joy takes it differently. So so I see two relationship through lines, one where the main character is changed and one where the main character is steadfast. So this becomes to you which one is more thematically significant,
And then I see Teresa raise her hand. Just one second. So what would you call those two relationships? Or do you have names for the two of them?
Well, one's obviously with Wayman, it's the relationship is a rocky marriage, with divorce papers looming. But yeah, it would be a rocky marriage. But there's also just a love affair when you see the other universes where the very suave Wayman is saying, I wish, I would have loved to have spent a time doing laundry and taxes with you. Um, but and of course the one with Joy is as mother and frazzled mother and teenage daughter. So that mother daughter relationship there.
Okay.
I might say college daughter.
Oh.
I don't think that she was still living at home, was a teenager, but I guess yeah, she could be. I mean, she's
Well,
I have the
was
feeling she
acting
graduated from high school.
Well, she was acting like a teenager.
Well, that could well be. I'm still waiting to stop.
She was acting. She was so teenage. She was like, I hate everything and everything sucks. That's just being a petulant teenager. So, so anyway.
Okay. Excellent. And then Teresa, what did you want to add?
Well, I guess just on that, I didn't see her as a petulant teenager. I saw her as someone who was actually going through depression, which affected her behavior. So that's kind of where I thought some of that tension came from. But in regards to obstacle character, I thought Joy was the primary, but there could definitely be a handoff. And there were a couple reasons, but the main one was there were two very big you and I scenes with Joy specifically. And so that made me think, oh, maybe Joy is actually the obstacle character. Because they were like two sides of the same coin, but kind of looking at things differently. So I thought Joy was the primary obstacle character, and that it's possible that Waymond or Alpha Waymond maybe was a handoff in there, but I do think Joy was the primary one for that reason. So I'll leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that this Nick, I don't think that there can be a handoff between Joy and Waymond for the obstacle character. They just have two strongly different worldviews and approaches. So it would probably be one or the other. Well, I'll stand by Joy. I stand by Waymond, and think of Joy as the antagonist. It's whatever the consensus reaches.
And then, okay, and then for Teresa, for Joy, what was it about her? I know the you and I scenes. There are two of them. It's like super clear. What's her point of view that challenges her? What does she hope to get across from Joy? Right?
You mean, what does Joy hope to get across to her mother?
Yeah, like what is her challenging viewpoint? Like this one was pretty clear that
yeah, Joy is nothing matters. That's her viewpoint. Like, don't take things so seriously because nothing matters. So why are you spending all your time why are you putting all your energy where you're putting it when in the end nothing matters?
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because then we just have to make sure, like, when we get to the difference between who's playing antagonist, who's playing obstacle character, it might be like different entities. And then I liked a lot what Sandy had with the two relationships. Any additions to this? Anything?
I mean, I think it's subtle, but it might be in there a little bit with the mother and the grandpa character. There's like a little bit of stuff there, but I don't think it's the primary obstacle or relationship. But
both of these are rocky relationships, and they're both very heartfelt. Like, that's a beautiful part about it. It's very touching on both sides. But are we good with just mother-daughter, husband-wife marriage sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Well, Nick already jumped ahead, but let's do. So now we step into the different dynamics, and so the character dynamics or the main character dynamics, starting out with the main character resolve. And so, Nick, do you want to repeat it, maybe, just to go through it again?
Yeah. I think that she's a change character, and that we see her starting off. So she's trying to logically or realistically, whatever phrase word you want to use, approach everything all at once and be in charge. And at the end, what she adopts is she is healing people. She is reaching out to people, and improving things for them, even if it's not directly involved as a goal, as a step on a goal for herself. She learns kindness from Waymond, and probably sharing, and really just to stop the kind of fighting that she was involved in and then got even more involved in through the middle of the show.
Did she learn anything from Joy?
Did she learn anything from Joy?
I think so, but
She learned how Joy felt. She learned probably that the resolute. Well, I don't know if she actually learned this, or if this was just the author getting tired of Hollywood endings initially. But she learned that the resolution of the main character's parental problems doesn't mean resolution of all the problems in the story. And but I don't know that she learned a lot from Joy as opposed to teaching Joy.
I think she moved. I think she moved Joy's perspective. I mean, she did come out of the bagel, and she did, join the family on that. You look at the beginning and you look at the end, and I mean the very end. I mean, obviously, Michelle Yeoh, Evelyn, learned a lot. And again, she totally had a perspective change in relationship to Waymond. But in relationship to, you look at the beginning, you look at the end, and the beginning, it's just her and Waymond and Gong Gong, right? The three of them went to the tax office. At the end, Joy went with them willingly. She's still saying, "Oh, taxes are bullshit" and all this. But she's going along with them. She's joined them. And when Evelyn turns around and says, you need to grow your hair and you're still fat, but this time they, took it not as an attack, but it's like, well, that's just how that's how my mother talks, and thank God for her, being my mother. So that's where I think I see the most prominent transformative arc is in Joy, going along with the family.
For Evelyn's steadfastness, you're saying in the beginning at the tax appointment, she was how?
She, well, she's here's the thing. I think she's, it's jumping ahead a little bit, but it's like she's a doer who's just like spinning her wheels and just trying to be in charge and just trying to stay on top of things, and she's doing that at the end.
And at the end, when she shows up with everybody, she's still trying to stay on top of things?
Evelyn, yeah, Evelyn is. I mean, again, what I saw, that what I saw is her behaving pretty much. Her exterior behavior, anyway, was looked the same as she did at the beginning of the movie. So, anyway, but
okay,
that was my read on it. That's all.
And then Teresa, what were you gonna say?
I thought that Evelyn was changed actually, because I know that the tax scenes kind of bookend, but the other scene that bookends is the car scene with Joy and the car. And in the beginning, Joy gets in the car and Evelyn lets her go. And in the end, Evelyn doesn't let her go. And that's a significant change because then Evelyn wanted to know why her dad, why did you let me go? And I'm not going to let my daughter go. And then there also was that one moment at the very end of that car scene where Joy says something like, do you still want to go to the party? And old Evelyn, who is very much, we'll just say have to do things in this order in this way, would have said, yes, we need to go back in the party. We need to do this. We need to do that. And instead she says, we can do whatever we want. So I took that as her being changed, instead of steadfast.
Okay.
One point to add to what Teresa said. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Levi.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I also saw her as changed rather than steadfast. Although I did pick up on those things Sandy mentioned, but I didn't find them that significant, I guess. At least in the entire story. I do think that maybe it would have been better if that was handled a little bit better, just in clarifying it, maybe. But yeah, that's all I had.
So what I was going to say is with regards to that, the tax scenes, Joy was supposed to go with them at the start, but it's Evelyn who refuses Joy because Evelyn doesn't want the girlfriend to be with grandfather, and that was the setup. That's why Dad had asked the girlfriend to show up, because Joy was supposed to come with them to the tax scene, and then Evelyn refused that and offered the alternate plan. No, we'll take grandfather and you two just decorate. And so that was a refusal of Joy, a rejection of Joy. And at the end, then Joy is the family unit goes up to see the tax audit. So everybody's together as a family.
I forgot about that moment. So that's a very good point, Nick. So thanks for reminding us of, I went back and rewatched the ending, but I didn't rewatch the beginning. So yeah. So thanks for reminding us of that.
Yeah, and I kind of liked it that it wasn't so, like, there were a couple different endings and it was kind of not as obvious, even though when Teresa explains it, it seems super obvious that there was a bookend scene. I didn't even think about that, but it is the same. And obviously, it connects with the whole thing with her dad and how he let her go. I mean, it's pretty, in hindsight, it's very apparent.
Mhm.
So then, and now Sandy skipped ahead. So we'll do.
Yep. Guilty.
Doer,
Yeah.
Sandy, what would you think? What do you
Was
think,
that
Sandy?
me?
Yeah, go for it.
You mean doer beer?
Yeah.
Oh, she's the doer, and Joy and Waymond are both very beers. I mean, she's just, it's not only that we see her doing things, but they talk about her doing things, but spinning her wheel, but doing things in such a way as spinning her wheels. So she's the one putting all the taxes together. She's trying to get the get the party going and dealing with the customers in the laundromat and just this and that, and that's just her natural first inclination.
Excellent.
Just to do, even if it doesn't change anything. She just does. So.
And it's like totally problematic for her. It's like they show that she's just, like you said, spinning her wheels, sort of thing. Levi.
So I totally saw her as a beer. So
Yay!
the main reasons are she has like the classic like refusal of the call at the beginning. I mean, yes, she is doing a lot of things, but none of them really seem to be going anywhere. I mean, maybe I can see the argument for doer, but I think both, at least and it gets confusing because are we talking about the different versions of them, right? So like the alpha Waymond is like a total doer. The regular quote unquote Waymond maybe not, maybe is a little bit more of a beer, but I still think that they were. I mean, they're like learning fighting. They're learning all of these different things, and I think that she becomes more like I saw her arc as like a beer to doer arc. One of the examples was like the rock, like the rock is going down, tumbling down, and she goes after her. I mean, I think there's just a lot of things where it's like it felt like she was like I don't know, like maybe it's not, but it felt like it was.
Okay.
So this is Nick, who is cheering Levi on, and I think that she starts out as a beer and ends up as a doer, and I think where we see her as a beer is that she doesn't change her environment on anything. And probably the biggest trick I think is that she's ordering people around a lot. She's telling others what to do. You go watch the noodles. You go get this. You do that. And I recall that those are classic indications of a beer. That's how a beer gets things done, ordering other people to do them. When she is in with the tax audit when she's in the elevator and the first time Alpha Wayman comes on, she doesn't do a lot to do anything. She just kind of takes it all in, and at the end we see her being much more a doer to solve her problems, in the sense of she is now doing actively healing, actively acts of kindness, and the so let's see here on that first car scene. I'm trying to think if so her daughter's unhappy, and she doesn't really do anything. I mean, and so Evelyn doesn't do anything other than just follow her daughter outside, I think, just to the car, and that's it. She doesn't change anything about the environment. She follows her daughter, whose daughter is the one who's changing the environment. And so those would be some of my arguments for her starting out as a beer and changing to a doer.
Teresa?
I thought Evelyn was a doer, and I also wonder if some of the ways we're getting confused here may be because we might need to talk about problem solving methodology before, because it's well, I think she's a doer that then kind of transitions to a beer. I saw her fighting with joy, as in like being instead of doing. Even though she was doing so with an open hand instead of a closed fist. And so I also think, given maybe what we'll discuss in the problem solving is it's not always as clear cut depending on, so some of the things, well, I think she's holistic, basically. I thought it was a holistic story. I could be wrong. But with holistic main character approaches, it is a little more enmeshed. It's not always such, oh, that's a doer, that's a beer. And some of the ways we think about are they a doer, are they a beer, in terms of achieving a goal, doesn't necessarily apply when it comes to a doer or beer in a holistic story who's more about an intention. So that's my 2 cents. But I'm really curious to see what people thought about the problem solving, because I could be very, very, off. So I think it'll be an interesting discussion.
When we get there, first, first off, and as you know,
Tricia's raising her hand, Jim.
Recording in progress.
echo.
Sorry.
Oh no,
I'm
somebody's echoing. 1 second.
Sorry.
I just wanted to say real quick, you notice I'm not like arguing one side or the other for all of these. I'm just letting everybody put everything out there. And then, I just wanted to say for the approach, I don't necessarily, when I do it, I don't try and think of, I know that the tendency is when they're a change character, they go from beer to doer, doer to beer, because then you get all confused because you might be seeing objective story stuff. So I always try to what is the concrete evidence of what their approach is that the authors are setting up, like at least in the very first act. So I would do that more so than this person is changed because this person is steadfast, or this person is a doer because this person is a beer, or whatever we do in the next one. Like just focus on the thing that it actually is instead of arguing the absence of it. Sometimes can make it easier to get to what it is. And then, so Sandy, did you have a something you wanted to say, or?
No, sorry. My phone I was on my phone and I had to, it kept going out. I don't know. Anyway, I got on the laptop and so I rejoined. So I missed part of it, but I defer. I'll defer the floor to someone else.
Right. Well, Krish, did you want to say something, Krish? Or add
Yeah.
in something?
Oh, okay. With me, it was the absolute end. As everybody's speaking, it just flashed on me. She started off, she's always active. I saw her as a doer, learning things as she's going along. But at the end, they asked her something, and she said, "What did you say?" And it just, if people are talking about going from one to the other, I thought that would be a perfect segue into a beer, because there she is, having gone through all of that, and now it's the beginning of something else. So that I thought that was interesting. That was all.
I mean,
So-
I will add the example of the rock scenes, where it's the joy rock that says, all you have to do is just sit here and watch the view, and everything seems so far away. It's just that whole thing, at least from the joy rock's position, it was all about being. It was all about being, and of course, she's still, the Evelyn rock is still a doer because it's that rock starts moving, right? And so she's still so it's impacting the other rock with her doing this. But but to the extent that Evelyn does change, especially compared to Wayman, I think what she needs to learn is how to adjust her attitude. So she, as opposed to, I still think that the thing that she needed to learn was to go internal, was to learn how to see things differently. Because I think her biggest lesson came from the Hollywood Evelyn and Waymond, the suave smoking Waymond, who who just sort of gave I think in those scenes made the beer argument. But still, I thought the rock scenes were the strongest indication of what that was trying to get at.
Well, maybe we'll just leave it here because other stuff will help decide that. But does anybody have anything else they want to add for doer beer? No? Okay. All right. So let's do mental sex. And since Teresa couldn't wait, she can say her piece about what the problem-solving style of the main character is.
I thought it was holistic,
Okay.
because Evelyn is trying to, like, in that first sequence where she's sorting through all the things, and then she has to go down, and then the lady wants the laundry, and then the laundry's not there, and she is just trying to balance everything and keep everything as even as possible. So like she's balancing, she's juggling too many balls in the air, and she's trying to keep everything going. She's trying to keep it balanced. So she's not trying to solve the problem. She's trying to balance the situation to keep the ship moving. I guess that's how I'd say it.
Okay. Anybody on the same side have different opinions?
So this is
Right.
Nick. I had to defer to the machine picking.
Okay.
I usually do that too, but yeah, again, we're getting a lot of contrary opinions here, but I I took I took the things that Teresa said and I interpreted them as um, a linear approach, because she is trying to solve this problem, and then this problem. Not doing a very good job at it, but at least approaching it a step at a time. One thing I found interesting was when Alpha Wayman from the other universe he gives her the list of things to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and and of course that's what he's doing, but she seems to say, okay, I will follow those steps. I will, she seems to, glom onto that. Okay, I will switch my shoes. Then I will think about the janitor's room or whatever it was. And she followed those steps, and, it got her, from one place to another. Yeah, but another thing I found interesting, and I know, Dramatica doesn't require the influence character to be the opposite of the main character, but very often they are on this point. But I found it interesting that, okay, toward the end, when Evelyn confronts her father and says, this is Becky, this is Joy's girlfriend. Okay, so she's doing pretty much exactly what Joy wanted her to do, but Joy just outright rejected that action. And of course, and it's a little bit baffling as to why. She's just being emotional, and you know, but although so there's something about, even though Evelyn did the right thing by Joy, it somehow it came across wrong to Joy. And I think that's because Joy is seeing things in a different way than Evelyn is, and that's what's aggravating to her, is that she sees the world differently. And so I interpreted that Evelyn does things from, goes from this step to this step to this step, as opposed to just getting the whole emotional picture, whereas Joy is someone who wants to see the whole, wants her mother to see things the way she does, which is taking in the whole, picture and using more emotional logic rather than intellectual logic. So, that's anyway. So even though I usually don't select this one either, if I had to put a wavy line under it, I'd lean toward linear for those reasons, and a few more, but mainly for those.
Okay, excellent. And then Levi.
I was just gonna say, again, because to Sandy's point, like it's not required, but I did kind of see Waymond as a little bit more holistic.
You
Like
know,
when it
I would
comes.
try. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like when it comes to like with the googly eyes, or like one of the things is like, oh, she really likes this cookie or something, and those were things where it's like I don't know if I would see Evelyn doing that at the beginning, but I could see her doing that at the end. So it was almost like it felt like she moved from more of a linear to a holistic. But no, that's not really what happens. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I don't ever. I know the tendency is like, and this is what I talked about before. It's like, oh, okay, well, to argue the approach, I'm gonna figure out where they were at the end, and because they're a change character, then yeah, then that's what it is, as opposed to like looking to what is actually like there, like examples of it. Same thing, especially with the mental sex, because even though it's attached to the main character, it's the whole film, and it's the filmmaker, and it's the author. So that's gonna be everywhere and everybody, regardless of who and there's so many examples where the main character and the obstacle character had the same exact mental sex because it's like it's the author's way of understanding how to write characters. So I never look at that, especially because then you're like, oh well, then that means they go into the female one, and then you're just arguing it based on something else that's not even a point of the story form, right? And that's like doesn't get you to the place.
Oh,
So that's what
Jim,
I
you're
think.
so logical.
Well, I because it gives you shortcuts that aren't really applicable to the story form. They're just like trends as opposed to like what like the mental sex has nothing to do with um the actual character. It's actually the whole how everything dynamically gets laid out plot wise from beginning to end. So you see it a lot in the main character, but it's like that's why I always try and like, okay, let me just look and see her. I see both of these, so I'm I don't have a one that I'm advocating one over the other. Is there any other sort of examples of what she does like later on in the story that's like, because Sandy's is yeah, she goes step by step through that, and then Teresa's is like, yeah, she's juggling all. I mean, they're perfect examples of both.
Well, she never tries to figure anything out from what I saw. She just
Do like
accepts the latest thing that comes up.
do the positive, not like she doesn't do this. Like
Oh,
what
okay. She adjusts immediately to whatever jumps up in front of her. She responds immediately in a very matter-of-fact linear fashion.
Oh, in a linear fashion. Okay,
That was my take on it.
got it. Anybody else? What about
I'll think of something, positive. I'm just
always like
thinking.
it's yeah, you want to look for like evidence of like what about when she starts to see other universes and stuff? What is her
Well, there's no doubt.
no, I know, but what is her approach? Like how does she there's obviously inequities in there and stuff, conflict. How does she go about managing it?
Okay, so to be fair to the question, this is Nick.
Yeah.
Which she are you talking about managing the inequity? The she in the other universe, or the she as from the laundromat universe?
Well, I think that
Because there's a
Evelyn
number of times when they're both present.
right, but I think that Evelyn main character is somebody who's both the laundromat, like present day, and then also these other branching. I think she's getting a chance to experience other universes, right?
So for purposes of our discussion, we'll agree that Evelyn, the main character, is the composite universe Evelyn.
Yeah, like the even just laundromat compared to actress, right? Like, famous celebrity.
Right. So they should be the same Evelyn. They for our purposes, the name the appellation, the name Evelyn covers both.
Okay, so then what
I just want to know what because we're talking about this.
I think in the case of both Evelyn and Joy, we're seeing the same character, just with they're the same person, but with their lives having unfolded in different ways. But so
no,
I do think it's intentional that Hollywood Evelyn is still the same character as Laundromat Evelyn, and Joe Butubaki is the same person as Joy, just having followed
As the author tells us through Joy, they're all part of me. You can't separate me.
Mhm.
So how does she go about? Oh, Teresa, go ahead.
So when she's in, so when she jumps to other universes, especially as the story progresses, she is in them simultaneously. It's not linear, as in she jumps to a universe, goes through the progression in the universe, and then jumps back to her body. She is multiple places at the same time. And I'm thinking about the scene at the beginning with the tax with the list. During that scene, she's also doing multiple things, trying to balance. So she's in the closet and then she's back there and she's trying to balance both scenarios instead of saying, these are the, these are the 3 steps I have to follow. But now I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to pick this path and follow it to the end. I'm going to go A to B here, and then I'm going to come back and do A to B here. She doesn't. She tries to do both at once because she's being pulled in all different directions and trying to keep everything steady and going.
And isn't that causing her mind to fracture?
It's called, yeah.
What about the moment where she takes the baseball bat to the window of the laundromat, and she goes, I've always hated this place or something, and then she smashes the window. How would I mean, that's a pretty big moment, so how would that be interpreted in terms of linear holistic? I mean, it doesn't solve anything. Oh, Jim, Jim, I suddenly couldn't hear you.
Oh no. Hello? Can you hear me?
You're muffled now, but yeah, I can hear you.
Oh.
There you go. There you
go. Yeah. Sometimes, and I'm pretty sure it's Levi. Somebody's microphone comes on and it goes like, but it might be yours as well. That's such a great example with the baseball bat. What was she trying to do? Like, is that a cause and effect?
That feels more. That feels more.
Or is she like trying to readjust all the energy that's in the room and just blow off steam to just shift the whole, feeling between everybody else in the room? Just like, why did you do that? Right?
Well, she did. Well, just for the logical side, or semi-logical side, she did it because it's no longer hers. It's been seized by the IRS.
But don't think logical. And that's why I use male and female mental sex.
Right.
Was she cause and effect, or was she releasing like I just had to break something in order to get this out of me so that then I can bring everything back into balance for me? Like, I don't know.
I can see it both ways, which is why I let the machine take it.
I mean, and again, this is late in the movie, and so she is evolved.
Or change, so that you can't don't do the evolve thing. Do like,
all right. But
it's like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Teresa.
Visually, like to visualize it in my head, have you guys ever seen Stargate?
The original Stargate movie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you know the animation when the Stargate opens, where it goes and then it comes back in? Mm-hmm. And then the portal opens to new possibilities? That's kind of what that scene felt like to me, was she was just letting off the steam and then coming back down, and then possibilities are open. Just to share my holistic mind perspective of watching the movie. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the feeling I got during that scene.
So I'll say one more thing, is that scene is, at least in a review that I saw, is tied to a whole series of scenes, which I don't know if that starts it or if it's in the middle or whatever, but she's killing off everything. She stabs Waymond. She is doing a lot of fighting and killing off before she begins her and in fact she signs the divorce papers too, and so she is, you might say, venting by getting rid of everything that she's ever cared for. And this is when she breaks Suave Raymond's heart. and there's a whole series of those, and then she goes through what I would call her change as Suave Raymond comes up and says basically, or the other Raymond says, "Be kind," the one that she stabs with the shard of glass, and the other Raymond says, the Suave Raymond says, your dad didn't think I was a fighter, but I was a fighter, but I fight a different way with kindness. And then things shift.
So we'll leave it. I will just throw out there that every single thing we talked about, everybody has equal answers on both. And that might be an indication of something else too, but I will just leave it. We could leave it like that for right now. So we really haven't decided anything except maybe change. So let's do
There's
story
five
dynamics.
story forms going
The
on.
next four are going to be good.
Are you saying the story form is going everywhere all at once?
I mean, if there ever was a title that gave away pretty much the entire story form, that this would be a prime candidate.
Yeah.
But let's do story driver, right? Let's do that first. Story driver. Action or decision?
Big decision. And I can. The first one, I think it would be Alpha Wayman coming in and offering, like, you can go. It's very Matrix, and I think intentionally so. Like, you can go right or you can go left, I think he says. And then I think at the midpoint, it would be the decision not to kill Joy. With what is she? With the box cutter, she comes up then. And then I think at the end, I was a little unsure of where it was, but it felt like, I think maybe it's the decision to, like, fight with kindness or something like that. And then another thing that was like, there's like a line where Wayman says, like, each decision creates a new universe, which I felt like was kind of pointing in that direction too. But that's what I had.
Okay. All these seem good. The one I would say, the decision to fight with kindness, you just want to make sure it's like not a decision to pull a trigger. Decision to shoot a gun. It's like,
Yeah, well, that one I'm fuzzier on. I don't know exactly if I have the right one.
Okay. So those are pretty good. Any any counters or any advocates?
I mean, to me, the kind of the inciting incident, the overall story has to do with bringing. Okay, so the overall story has to do with bringing this mom into the multiverse in order to fight this psychotic nihilistic force, right? However you worded it. And so the arrival of the alternate Wayman, Alpha Wayman, when he does the whole shift, and I believe that's in the elevator. I think that's before they even go to see Jamie Lee Curtis. It's in the elevator, and suddenly it's that moment when the overall story actually kicks, or the main plot kicks into gear. And so it's just the arrival of Alpha Wayman, to me, is an action point that starts the story. But now here's the thing: the ending, basically the problem is solved when Joy comes out of the bagel. Okay. Now that's where you could argue, how do you interpret that? Is that a decision that Joy made, or is the action of Joy stepping out of the bagel the thing that finally resolves the story? And I guess you could say that once the bagel is gone, there's no more problem. And so she goes in, but then she comes back out, and that's when she hugs her mom and everything. But objectively, what solves the what solved the problem? Her decision to come out of the bagel, or the fact that she steps out of the bagel? For So that's where I get a little fuzzy on definitions.
Where was the midpoint in this story? I mean, it was rather long, so I didn't actually clock it anywhere. I'm just trying to think where people think the midpoint was. Since
I
it's
thought it
a
was pretty
certain
close to that
contender
scene.
wins on problem solving style, we'll be looking at the midpoint more closely.
I actually think Levi identified it, which I didn't
Was
even
was
realize.
that the correct midpoint?
I clocked it like it was roughly halfway through. But again, this movie is a little bit longer, and I feel
But
like
what was the event? What was the event?
well,
The box
It's when
cutter?
the office and the grandpa's there, and he's like, "You got to kill her."
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
It's that whole scene, I believe, is the midpoint. Is
Yeah,
that
I
sort of
agree. I thought the arrival of Alpha grandfather was the kind of the shift, the midpoint shift.
okay? So the arrival by Alpha grandfather. Okay.
Which is before they get to that scene. Because Alpha grandfather arrives in the hallway at the IRS. Because she says, Gong Gong, and he says, not the one that you know. Also, I would just point out, I think it's more than just a little bit of foretelling or anyways, but in the very first scene or two, we actually see Waymond in the laundromat on the security screen. It's
Right.
up there on the 6 closed circuits. All of a sudden you see him jumping around, and then all of a sudden he turns back into regular Waymond.
Right.
But that doesn't really doesn't drive anything, but I think it's just foretelling to us that something fantastical is going to be happening.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts? Whether or not it's action or decision? Nobody?
I thought it was action, but I am also very bad at this part. So, but I'll explain why, but I could be very wrong. How do I say it? The moments that things slowed down and zoomed in for a moment seem to be some action moments, then sped up after that. For example, the arrival of Alpha Waymond in the elevator. It was sort of a closed scene moment. A lot was happening, but it was very contained, intense moment. And then after that, things started to spin and move again from that moment. Because he like gives her the list, and then that that kind of spins things forward. And then when Alpha Gong Gong arrives, same thing. It kind of spins things forward. So my gut was telling me action driver, but again, this is not my forte. The drivers are not my forte.
Actually, one significant, what's maybe the first act, I'm trying to think of where the act turns would be, but there was a pretty, it wasn't you almost forget about it, but it actually kind of turned the story in a particular direction. That's when Evelyn punches Jamie Lee Curtis. What was her name? Deirdre? She punches
Deidre.
Deidre, and she punches her, and then she brings in the security, and then and that snowballs into all the big action scenes, with all the ninja stuff going on. And but it started with Evelyn punching Deirdre. So that might be another support for action.
And then what kind of her punching her, what kind of decisions did that force that they had to make because she punched her?
That once the she called security arrived, and then Alpha and Waymond had to he had to decide to enter the scene and start disposing of the security people, and creates all the havoc in the office building. So
Didn't her husband reveal about the divorce on the paperwork because of that?
Right.
So
Well,
that
usually when you do the story driver, you want to have like, okay, because they had this choice to make, and then they made this choice, then that brought about all this other action. That would be a decision-driven story. An action-driven story is because all this action happened, it forced them to make a decision that they wouldn't have made before. And so I was trying to see what the connection is there.
So and it's kind of important that we see the decision on screen. Is that correct? Or is that again a problem-solving issue?
Yeah, I mean, like for instance, the midpoint, which you're right, like that's the biggest point. Was she forced to make this decision just because Grandpa showed up? Or was it like, you've got to kill her, you've got to make a choice?
Yeah.
Levi has his hand up. I want to see what he.
Yeah, I know I initially argued for decision, and I'm not trying to counter that or anything, but I did have a thought that Sandy reminded me of, which was we see a flashback from it's from the Alpha universe, but it's like in that universe, Evelyn's like a famous like creator or something or scientist. I can't remember exactly what, but she does like flip a switch and it like electrocutes and shocks Joy, right? And she like, and that's like when she kind of starts like becoming the super being kind of figure. I wonder if that could count as an action driver. But again, it gets a little messy because you're dealing with all the different other universes.
True, but that's a good point, because that's kind of the origin of Jobu Tupaki, and you could argue that you could argue that's the inciting incident. That's what created the antagonist. So again, is that an I mean I think I would interpret that as an action. But
I
you're right.
actually think of flipping a switch as a decision. Now that you say that, Levi, like
Mhm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this is why I'm not good at this one. But now I'm like,
Right.
well, that actually I would think is Evelyn decided, Alpha Evelyn decided to keep pushing her daughter. And then that led to the actions of the additional testing and et cetera, et cetera. And then the creation of or the fracturing of her daughter's mind. And then the other thing I'm thinking of, because I was talking about like slow moments where things slow down. Another moment where things slow down is actually where Evelyn has to make the decision of whether or not to enter the bagel. And there's like a lot of come join me, and then Evelyn is thinking about it, and then but it's pulled back, and then she thinks about it some more, and then it's pulled back, and then she makes the decision to turn away, and then that kind of starts the joyful the fight with Joy scene. So I guess I'm switching camps. So now I'm on
totally
the
had
team
that
decision
thought,
too.
too. Thanks for reminding me, because I forgot that. Yeah, that it goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Are you going to go in the bagel? And it also like it felt like not so much maybe the beginning, but like the midpoint did feel very decision, because it's like it's building up suspense. She walks over there with the knife. We're not sure what she's going to do. She cuts the tape. So that felt. That was why I was initially thinking decision. So.
And almost like the choice, like you have a choice. And then with Wayman in the beginning, you have a choice. You can either stay here in the IRS thing, or you can go through my steps. And then the choice, enter the bagel or not enter the bagel. Just saying.
And again, I think this is so inspired by The Matrix, and I think it's really funny if it is a
Oh,
holistic
100,000
decision driver.
Almost like the bullet coming to her head.
Oh,
I mean, I didn't realize it when I first saw it, but watching it last night, I was like, oh, this is just The Matrix. Like, how did I not see this? All right. Story limit. Can we just skip this one? Just
But wait, she says that
Oh.
6 p.m. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care. You got enough back and forth. You don't need to explain it.
Time is meaningless in the multiverse, so.
Yeah, There you go. So the only meaningful option is option.
Hmm. Right.
Story outcome, story judgment.
Success and good.
Success, good.
Everybody happy and hugging at the end. Even Deidre says it's okay, to the extent that it's not too unrealistic.
We love this. Her
Finally, we can agree on something.
Something.
Okay, so then let's do the domains, right? And like kind of go from there. Does that sound good? All right, let's use this thing since it moves around and stuff. And because I don't have access to Dramatica. All righty.
Actually, this is helping me because Dramatica, to me, I actually purchased it, but to me, it's still completely overwhelming. So it's good to see your text-based, where I just see the option we're selecting or the two that we're arguing about.
And just so you know, some people in here have been doing this for 30 years and still can't decide between two different options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's probably an element of subjectivity to it, I'm sure, even if you're an expert.
So that's a very good point. That's the thought. That's the cop out. But what we're gonna find out is because the way these things are related has a meaning to it, you can only be so subjective before it's like, oh, okay, you know what? This is the best arrangement of things because the main character and the obstacle character have to be across from each other. And because these all have relationships to them, there's going to be a place where it's like, oh, okay, this one makes way more sense. So
blind spots, so I feel like what one person brings to it is going to be like, oh no, wait, yeah, now I see your point, you know.
Right, because then you know the relationship, right? Like everybody knows doer beer, so the main characters, if it's a doer, they're going to be here at the top. If they're a beer, they'll be down here at the bottom, right? So it's like either doer or beer. So that's very important. That's going to help us figure out what the actual main character approach is. So I mixed it all up for everybody too. Anybody have any feelings or suggestions? Just looking at the 4 through lines. So just the relationship story, objective story, obstacle character, and main character. Where would you put them?
If nobody wants to.
We're going to go through all of them, so
Yeah.
we'll start with one of them.
Well,
go ahead, Drew. You go first.
I guess I'll go because there were no. Are there any other takers before I go? All right.
It's on you.
I think, Jim, you mentioned the Matrix, and I think you're spot on. I think it's the same. It's a very similar configuration in regards to the Matrix. So I think that OS is in physics and MC is in universe.
Okay. And so the objective story plot is what? Why would you?
Well, I think that's a kind of a question mark because it's well, MC, I think she's the chosen one, right?
Is she?
Well, yeah, she was chosen. They needed to find an Evelyn that will be able to. They needed to find the protagonist, a version of Evelyn that can tackle the antagonist, the Jobu Tsubaki. So she is chosen.
So I thought her personal baggage, or kind of why she's stuck in part, is because of her roles. She has so many roles as mother, daughter, wife, etc. And so it's kind of her functioning in the world. And I thought she was the chosen one because she was so bad. What did they say? She was so bad at everything that she could be anything. So that's why I thought she was in universe. And I thought the OS was in physics. And it's not, I don't think it's obtaining, but I thought it was about the bringing back, it was, the intention is to bring balance. Yeah, basically I thought her issue was fate. So that's why I put her in, in universe, but
just the plot. So The problem in the story is what?
Is that the multiverse is in danger of being destroyed.
And that's
The problem in the story is Jobu lives, and there's a bagel that's swallowing up everything, and that's a situation in my opinion. And the and in the program, when you look up under situation in the context, it says all the overall characters are interested in maintaining or demolishing a situation, and that pretty much is spot on for this.
Right, whether they realize it or not, it is their
Realize it or
concern.
not, this is that's the situation that they're all in, and that everyone is in, whether it's changing the situation with the IRS, or the IRS lady finally getting tired after 2 years of doing an audit that, okay, you guys got to come clean now, one way or the other. And it is mentioned this is their they're on their second year of this audit. Deidre has a good reason to be kind of tired of them.
So
and the situation of Jobu Tabaki, which is that she's all fractured.
so just because I hate situation because everything's a situation. So just to go back to universe, you're saying what about the universe is inequitable?
You mean you hate the term situation?
We do, because everything's
Right.
Well, okay, yeah.
What's inequitable about is that somebody's trying to destroy the universe. Well, I don't want to phrase it that way, because I know what'll happen.
Right, but no,
but actually, the bagel is the existence of the bagel
there you go.
seems to be the problem,
There you
because it's swallowing up everything.
That's a universe problem.
Yeah.
Perfect. I just wanted to get you to do a universe as opposed to like, the situation of all this stuff. So that's a great explanation of universe. Okay. So then for Teresa, you had physics being what?
No, I'd buy the universe thing for OS. I mean that
yeah.
that makes sense. I just thought that she was so initially I did think OS was in physics, but then in universe, but then there was the whole big scene where she was the chosen one, and I was like, oh, I must be wrong, and so I put her where the chosen one usually goes. So that's kind of what made me think that Evelyn might be in universe, but the explanation of the existence of the bagel, that situation, that swallowing up everything, and the fracturing of the multiverse as OS. I could agree with that. I could go with that.
I mean, I honestly, I started with impact character, just because I see Joy as the primary impact character and Wayman as the secondary impact character. But I think in both cases, I think Joy in particular is deeply psychological and or fixed attitude. All right, especially when you figure, again, Joy is Jobu Tubaki, and her position is nothing matters. So I just see, now it could be that the relationship is in psychology, and the impact characters in mind, or flipped. I'm not sure. But I see those dynamics in the internal realms, and that's why I do see the overall story and the main character in the external realms, and again, I'm fine flipping it one way or the other.
Okay.
I can throw out mine too, because I also like the idea of the bagel, but I had it as overall story, physics, and main character in mind. Is kind of more how I saw it. It felt like at the beginning she has more of the fixed attitudes that were causing her issues, and she was like very stubborn, a lot of those things, and then the universe, it felt like that. I definitely see what Sanya was saying about like the relationship story with psychology, like but being like how you think about things. I think that could be maybe where the nihilism stuff fits, and then the physics felt like everybody's fighting and all of that. But again,
So
it gets a little tricky, I guess.
yeah, so first let's just do Evelyn being in the mind domain. If she
Okay.
changed her attitude and she was suddenly nice, would that be, oh, that's not a good way to say it. If she has an attitude problem and she changed her attitude in the beginning, would she have any more problems?
That's
Just her
kind of well, that's kind of where I was getting like with the daughter, because it felt like so much of the plot
don't think
hinges on that.
This is the problem when everybody starts thinking of
Yeah.
everybody. So they're thinking of everything everywhere all at once. Just think of the main character and her own person. What is set up as her problem? Is it her attitude? Like if she
Well,
was,
could you
This
say
is an
if
open
sh-
discussion. Go ahead, Prish.
yeah.
if her change in if it was attitude that made her slug the IRS person, so
A.
it would be attitude.
I don't think that she's. I think that's more objective story, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
in reaction to
Like,
the
just do
chaotic
the
events.
scene with the taxes and taking care of the laundromat and all that stuff. That's very main character stuff. Is the problem
Well, except that's also her profession.
no, I know, but that's
That
the
puts her over into an OS position on those aspects.
Well, her job as the OS, where the OS is concerned, is being, is being Neo, is being the savior of the multiverse, so
No, it's her OS is being the laundromat person.
Mm.
That's her job and dealing with the business.
no, because the story isn't about running a business. The story is about a bagel that's eating everything up. So then that's her relationship in the objective story. In terms of the main character, which we've identified as distracted, doing too many things at once, not succeeding at any of them, feeling rejected by her father, feeling like she's not succeeded, not happy with the way her daughters turned out, give up a lot of her dreams and only made partial progress towards her dreams because of her roles as daughter, mother, business owner, wife. So then now take that and look at the four domains and which
Well, it's
ones
clearly manipulation. It's not the answer you wanted to hear.
She has a fixed attitude. She has a fixed attitude.
But do you see how we didn't even mention her attitude in here?
I said she has a fixed attitude.
Oh no, I understand that's what you're saying, but when we
Okay.
identified what her problem was, it had nothing to do with her attitude.
Well, you don't think so. I took it all as attitude. So, but the
Oh, no.
last,
No,
but the last,
Prish, I
but
think
the
he's saying
last-
it does have to do with her attitude.
oh,
And we
okay.
didn't use that exact word when we were discussing her problems. And so you don't need to use the word attitude when you're
Okay.
even though she has a fixed attitude. You can find
Okay.
this other evidence of her having a fixed attitude.
Okay.
Yeah. So if she wasn't the one, would she still have a problem?
Yeah, she'd still have a problem.
Right.
Yeah,
If she
she has a problem with her daughter because she won't stand up to her father, and defend her daughter's lifestyle.
let's just before we go into like a big thing. So she's not the one. That's not her personal problem.
Mhm.
Is she manipulative and somehow she's gonna stop being manipulative? We already can say it's not even a choice, right? Do that, please. Okay. And then for mind, what is her, what's the attitude that we identified as being her core problem? If she stopped doing everything everywhere all at once, would she have any more problems?
Yeah, I think
Does-
yeah.
It would all have to be done anyway. Somebody has to do it.
True, but she kind of needs to learn how to chill. And yeah, well,
If she didn't think that she was the savior of the world before she became the savior of the world, like what would my silly husband do without me? I have to keep my daughter in line. Nobody else can paint the damn ceiling. Um, then if she got rid of that attitude, then her problems would go away, even though the physical items would still be there. They wouldn't be problems for her.
Which domain are you arguing for, or what do you think?
Well, I'm going with fixed attitude, but I still like manipulation because I think fixed attitude worked better in the RS line. But
Okay, well,
and joy as an IC worked better in activity, and that fixed attitude is what you think. It's how you think, and manipulation is what you think. I think, is that the way it's
Well,
done?
I
Yeah,
could
but-
see in the relationship story manipulation because the husband's trying to manipulate her by getting the divorce started.
okay.
Anyway, I'm just tossing that out there.
Yeah,
I'll reach.
It's fine. Everybody's just throwing stuff out. Let's try and do let's just do main character, obstacle character for now, and not talk about anything else. Just because the film's everywhere all at once. So for and then Teresa, actually raise your hand. So go. I'll let you speak first. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if we are, I know we haven't like officially decided, I think to pin where we're pinning the OS, right? But if we do pin the OS in universe, then main character can't be in mind. It would
Yes.
have to be in either physics or psychology. And her problem is that her problem is physical. It's like she needs to resolve all the things that are out of control in her life. And she's doing everything and she's trying to understand everything but can't. She's trying to learn everything and she's trying to obtain everything and she can't. And if she
or
stops,
not lose. Yeah.
or yeah, and yeah, and not lose the business and things. So so given if we are going to pin OS in universe, then my opinion would be pinning her in physics, her through line in physics.
Okay, so that was a great explanation of a main character domain in physics, like if that's what the problem is. So then looking at both Waymond and Joy, what is their sort of dysfunctional way of thinking? Let's do Waymond first. What would his dysfunctional way of thinking be?
Well,
Go ahead.
well, no, he says your father thought I was I had too much sweetness, or what was it? This was when Wayman was talking, but he's still talking about the same Wayman in the past when they were together. Your father thought I was too sweet of a person, but you know what? I think that was my strength. So, I mean, that was a psychological problem that was attributed to him, but he didn't see it. I mean, he didn't see it as a problem. So it is a whole process of thinking. And again, I think any dysfunction is attributed to him.
Putting googly eyes on laundry bags. Why does he do that?
Why does he do that? Yeah.
Because he's holistic. No,
Right, he could be, yeah.
Why does he? It's silly, right? Or I think they actually give a reason why he does it. I don't quite remember why it was, but he does that. Why does he bake cookies? Right? Doesn't he bring cookies to the IRS, or he's
yes, yeah.
Yeah, and there are flashback scenes about him getting so excited about opening up the laundromat and doing things like, oh, what is the song? And so he's just again, he's impactful psychologically because he is taking pleasure in just what is, and what is, what's happening in the moment, which you know, again, that's his impactful argument to Evelyn. So
Okay.
it is, I can see that being defined as psychology, yes.
And then now, because you love Joy as the primary, what's her version of that?
Oh God, she is so psychological. She is just she's nihilistic, she's suicidal, she's you know, she's uh, thinks everything is bullshit and we're all, you know, we're all humans are pieces of shit because everything, you know, every time a discovery is made, it just makes us smaller. And that's her whole viewpoint. It is a really fucked up psychology, but it's also, you know, she's also just being a teenager. But yeah, and again, even at the point when Evelyn, you know, confronts her father and says, "This is Becky, Joy's girlfriend," and then she just pulls away and says, "Oh, you just don't get it," you know, and it's like, I think Teresa said, you know, she's depressed, you know, and um uh and you could argue that her nihilistic viewpoint, as Joe Butabaki, is a fixed attitude, but it's probably more psychology. It's more of a process. It's just that the overall pattern of thinking that she has that has got her into this crazy, you know, funk that she's just going to have to grow out of. She just has to grow out of it, and that's a process.
Yeah, kind of like you and I are both alike, right? Like, you.
Yeah, she's stubborn. She's a mess, just like me. You know, so that's how she's defined. She's stubborn and she's a mess, and all the other things that she said.
And kind of, yeah, the access being like, you're doing all these taxes and all this stuff, and it's all just meaningless. And so her point of view, that psychological dysfunction, is that it's all meaningless and nothing matters.
Right.
So that feels good there.
I mean, again, I was wrong, I think, with my thinking, but I do like the relationship story in mind because that kind of also works with the grandfather subplot too, because that feels very centered around fixed attitude.
Yeah, what is the when is the let's look at the marriage, right? Which is like when does the marriage get better? Through mind. What are some scenes where
Well, okay. Evelyn watches Wayman clean up the glass, you know, clean up her mess, and he does it without complaint. I mean, that's when she goes up and hugs him, and that's kind of a transformative moment. But just prior to that is the scene with Suave Wayman saying things like, you know, I'm not sure if this is exactly what preceded that scene, but he did say at one point, I, you know, I would have been happy just doing, you know, spending a life doing laundry and taxes with you, and I think that moved her, you know, and that taken together, and probably some other crazy stuff, you know, happened too that led up to her finally just, you know, appreciating Wayman and stop taking him for granted.
Well, and he got the IRS agent to give them a
Oh,
week.
right. Yeah, you're right. The he did something. He said, you know, what did you do to change your mind? He said, I just talked to her. And that also seems very
We find out
psychological.
later on what he really did was he said, "Yeah, I just served her with divorce papers today." And
Still.
Deidre was kind of sympathetic to that.
Still, he's using
Yeah, no, it was
psychology to his
yeah.
advantage. He's using psychology. He totally used psychology to his advantage. So if anything, it was manipulative, but in a positive way. It was that moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm seeing a blurry share screen too, Jim. I don't know I thought it was on my end, but
Oh, you're seeing a blurry one? Oh,
Yeah,
weird.
so am I.
Kind of like
Oh,
tilted.
there.
There?
Now it's snapped back.
Okay.
We're good now. So
Yeah, and I think like their relationship grows all the romantic gestures, right? Like whenever there's romance, and that's what she's looking at when she sees the two people, you know, what they eventually have long hot dog fingers, but all that stuff. Like whenever there's like romantic gestures and love and like caring is like gets them closer together, which would also be mind. I think that fits really well in there.
mhm.
Yeah, so to me this one feels the strongest. I don't know, did anybody have any, everybody pretty good with this one?
I'm good with it.
So then she would be a doer, right? Like that's what we've got. So for those who were in the doer category, it would be this one, right? Which feels pretty good.
Okay.
And then the other thing that's interesting, which I skipped, was the main character growth.
Mhm.
Would be stop or start. And because they're next to each other, it would be a stop, which would mean Evelyn
It feels
has
like a stop story to me.
chip
Uh,
on.
well, yeah, and I just said something. I just said she needs to stop taking Wayman for granted. Um, certainly in Joy, even when Evelyn does the right thing, Joy is still saying stop it. So however you interpret it, she has something to stop. But also, it's often, not always, but I think more often than not, the stop start dynamic for the main character brand, echoes out into the overall story. And this is very much, we need to stop the bagel, and so it's clearly, a negative in the environment that needs to be stopped. And so that's why overall it feels like a stop story.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about there is the stop good. So that when those two are with each other, then that's like I forget what it is in Dramatica. It's like
Yeah, it's what's it called? Negative feel or
negative.
positive feel, negative feel. Right. It's a negative feel because there's a negative that needs to be um
Like I always refer to it as the problems are chasing the characters as opposed to the characters chasing the problem, which would be
that's good.
start good.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
and that I think that totally fits in the stop because they are related because it's the relationship between the
Hmm.
character and the
Between the
objectives,
main
right?
character and the overall story, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Okay. All right. Well, actually, I think that was good. That's why it's like when you're trying to figure out where the different domains are, just like pick one and just look at that one and then see the one across from it and see, okay, where can I put these so that it fits? And then I can do the other ones. Because you'll always find, yeah, she has an attitude, but does that really match up with an obstacle character in this place? And I think this is probably the best arrangement of it. All right.
Did
So
you go
now,
back to your colorful screen?
oh, I did.
It's blurry again.
Someday I gotta figure that out. Okay.
Okay, there you
Yeah. So I was saying if yeah, she has an attitude, but it's like, I don't know if the obstacle character in the universe makes much sense. Whereas this seems to be the best arrangement of all four at once. Identifying the relationship between them, which is less subjective, because that's where when everybody had all these different ideas, because it was like subjectively, yeah, you make sense, but then let's look at all the relationships between the different through lines to get one that feels pretty good. Okay, so now, yeah, let's just look at let's do all four at once. Why not? um, which group of concerns with wherever the objective story concern will also be the direction the story is going in. So it's either, about the past and then understanding, conceptualizing in memory. So that would be the universe, something to do with the past. Evelyn doing everything, trying to work through understandings and misunderstandings. Wayland and Joy would have some sort of conceptualizing imagery, and then memories in the mother-daughter and marriage would be kind of the source of inequity that's being explored. And then looking at the other ones, this would be if progress is the thing, then it would be all the stuff that she's doing. That would be the way that Waymond and Joy be or are, and then their impulsive responses. Another choice would be the future. So then this would be her trying to accomplish things, get control of everything. This would be Wayman and Joy, kind of pushing on becoming somebody completely different, transforming yourself, and then growing through, like I was saying, like love and all that stuff. And then the last choice, because it's only one of four, is present oriented, with Joy's whole thing. I'm sorry, Evelyn's whole thing being about learning or what she can bring to the table. What Wayman and Joy are like the ideas they're coming up with, and then the conscious considerations that are helping mend or heal the relationship. So like with everything else, I think they're all in there. And there should be one that feels a little more like identifying where problems are coming from or where inequities are kind of motivating people to action. So go.
Well, someone said in the chat, upper voting for upper left.
Okay.
So I'm looking at that. So whoever,
Jazz
can argue that. Go ahead. I mean, obviously past has underneath it fate, destiny, prediction, interdiction. Interdiction's really good. For the overall story.
Right. It's what I'm talking about these here. So past has fate, prediction, interdiction, and destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And then Evelyn would be going through these things, right?
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just doing this. Yeah, I like understanding for the main character. I do. Of the four, they all apply, but it seems like what the story is about for the main character is understanding where she is in the world, understanding where she is, what's going on with her family. She just doesn't understand what's going on. She doesn't understand what's going on. Why, she doesn't understand why so much shit is going down, even at the beginning. And she needs to achieve a catharsis where it's like, okay, I've achieved a new understanding. We can do whatever we want, or we can just let things be. So senses, interpretation, instincts, conditioning, not necessarily the issue, but that may be a strong catalyst or something. So I think I'm leaning in that direction as well. And oh gosh, look, you go for the impact character under developing a plan. There's situations, circumstances, but state of being and sense of self. I think that a sense of self, that's huge. So I don't know how developing well, of course, I mean, developing a plan, I guess you could argue that pretty well for Joy acting as Joe Budupaki. But even Wayman is kind of developing a plan. And then the relationship and memories, and you look at truth, falsehood, evidence, suspicion, but certainly memories are, the recollections are, very important. All the, I'm just thinking out loud, people. So just please jump in. Don't, interrupt me at any moment.
Which through line are we working on?
Now we're looking at the concerns. So Sandy just went through past, understanding, I would say conceptualizing, and
Conceptual
In which
memories.
through line?
Remember, we have the objective story and universe, main characters in physics, influence characters in psychology, and then the relationship is in mind. So now
Yes.
we're trying to figure out where the concerns are to get a little more clarity on where the source of conflict is coming from.
Okay.
Ooh, Jazz. Go for it, Jazz.
Hi,
Raise-
is my mic working? Or can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I liked the upper left the most because I liked past for universe because they're asking how do we get back? How do we there are all these universes and how everybody's lives are branching off in different directions or have branched off in different directions. Now they're trying to access them. And so I thought like the in universe it was centralized in the past. Personally, I was invested more in the main character being in conceptualizing because I think of that one scene of her imagining how wonderful her life would be if she didn't meet her silly husband.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of understanding for the obstacle character because Jobu Tapaki is looking to be or looking for a version of Evelyn that could understand her, although I feel like I'm bringing in the objective story, but someone who understands what she's going through. And memory, I'm never really good with the relationship story through line, but like maybe when they're reviewing everything in their life together, like their marriage, and realizing that it's not so bad. That's my take.
Yeah. Like for sure, like, oh, I would have loved to have had those memories with you, right? Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and a lot of all the flickering is all the moments together, right?
Yeah.
That
And with
that
Joy too, you're going back to that there's that one memory where Evelyn is chasing baby, or like she's like 3 or 4 years old, Joy, through the laundromat, but then when she says, okay, I'll let you go, and then we see that memory played again, but this time without Evelyn chasing the little girl.
Mhm.
So
So that feels pretty good. Anybody have ideas of it being somewhere else? Ooh, everybody's okay with this?
I'm okay.
Oh,
Yep.
dang. Okay. All
I
right.
mean, God, you look at the elements underneath, you see order, chaos, you see aware, self-aware. There's so much good stuff under that quadrant that just feels right for this movie.
Well, then let's do that. So here's the four: fate, destiny, prediction, and interdiction. And I just skipped that. Who cares? Go down to the problem. Or what seems to be the problem slash solution of the story. And no, this is the fun part because it's a change story, right? Know that Evelyn will have the same exact problem and the same exact solution. So that way you can kind of look at both at the same time and see which pair of those two feels the best. And Sandy's right. A lot of them feel really great. So I don't.
For the overall, we're looking at overall story, right?
Yeah, but yeah, the problem solution, either the objective story or Evelyn, since they'll both be the same element.
The word of the day is chaos.
There's certainly a lot of discussion about chaos. That is true. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's the element, but at least we're in the right area.
Mm-hmm. Oh. so many pairs here that I could make a good argument for.
Well, you can just start with one, and then I won't take you for your word for it. I'm not going to argue like, oh, this one's.
Yeah, equity. Oof. When it comes to the main character, um, I'm when it comes to the main character, at least, I'm drawn to inertia and change because I feel like her problem is that at the beginning she's in a certain inertia. She doesn't know how to confront her father. You know, she's just kind of trapped in this, you know, rat race of doing taxes and laundry and trying to do all this family business all at the same time. And so it she, uh and the solution is she needs to bust a window, you know. So um but does that make sense with everything else? Projection, speculation.
I liked that.
Yeah, it may not be the final answer, but I like that element being in there for her personally. Is that now, if that's her problem, that would also be the OS problem. Um, hmm. Prediction. I'm not sure I like prediction.
Let's see, Jazz. Do you have?
I liked the Fates quad the most, not only because they talk about chaos a lot, but in terms of Fates, they talk like there's this sense of nihilism. They talk about how there's like how these events, it doesn't matter because it's a statistical inevitability, which reads to me as fate a lot. And there's wondering how things or if things would play out differently, like if timelines took different directions if you made this choice instead.
Mhm.
Okay. So
If we,
which would you say is the problem and which one is the solution?
or is one, or are they symptom and response?
I was trying to focus just on the problem solution for now. Be the same in both.
Because obviously chaos is a big part of this movie, but I feel like that's on the surface. I feel like chaos is just what you see, and it's symptomatic of the problem, as opposed to being the underlying problem. Um, where if we picked chaos as the symptom and order is the response, and so everyone is trying to address chaos with order, which just leads to more chaos. But underlying it is the problem of thought. And what is the thought that's underlying the problem? Well, it's that nihilistic attitude. It's that, you know, fractured mind that created the villain, and her thought created the bagel.
So like thinking through things creates the bagel sort of idea.
Thinking it through things in a particular way. Yeah, I mean, I'm just spitting in the wind here, but
That's fine.
whereas just the knowledge, whereas the solution when Jobu Tupaki, okay, / Joy realize, oh, I know that I will be loved no matter what, so I will leave the bagel. It's sort of that knowledge that eventually gets conveyed from Evelyn into Joy that um that causes her to turn away from the bagel. So I'm just positing that as a possible illustration.
Okay.
That is interesting. I did want to put it in the surface, like focus and direction. Yeah, symptom and response. Though I was tempted, or I wanted to put it the problem as chaos because they talk about it a lot, but you have Jobu Tupaki who's like bombarded with all these visions from other worlds. She's not floating on space, but like things don't make sense to her. Like everyone feels like insignificant and small, and it devolves into chaos. There's this moments with like Evelyn where she goes all anarchist and just like upends everything in each universe. And in the end, like they achieve this sense of order, I think, with acknowledging that they can, when they decide to be a family, I don't know. But I feel like it's ordered at the end.
Again, I would pin that on symptom and response. Because I think everyone is aware that chaos is problematic. What they're not aware is that the underlying issue is someone's thoughts.
And then that's fixed by knowing something at the end.
That's what I was struggling to illustrate with.
Well, what I think is known at the end, and what causes her to come through the bagel, to go away from the bagel, is knowing that even if they're only little bits of moments, that these moments do
where it all makes sense.
That no, not necessarily makes sense, but that and yes, that those little middle moments that make sense, but that they do matter, that they will be cherished. That is it is the knowledge that it does matter and that it does cherish. And in some sense, you could say that it has a meaning, no matter how small that unit of little minutes are. That provides the solution. And that it was thinking about, well, these are just statistical certainties that will happen when you have so many universes that are branching out from choices, and with the response to order, it seems like all of the alpha people, their goal, and actually it was stated somewhere in there, was to get it back to the way things should be, which was back to the way it was before the daughter was electrocuted to have fractured universes and stuff like that, and Evelyn was still alive, but that type of universe. So they were looking for a specific order to go on. The FBI agent was looking, or not the FBI, but the IRS was looking for a certain order in those tax receipts. The cops who come out of the elevator, and all the cops throughout, of course, they were for order, and they were seeing chaos erupt in the office. So those would be some examples solidifying around that particular unit.
And then, so Nick, you're saying problem, thought, solution, knowledge. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the whole thing is like, there are only a few brief moments where everything makes sense. And the solution becomes embracing that knowledge. Okay, there's only a few brief moments where we have that knowledge. Although you could attribute that to aware and self-aware, but that's in a different cluster. But still, I think you could say that the knowledge that that it does matter, that things do matter, ultimately is what turns the antagonist, changes the antagonist, and that's what solves the problem.
Okay. And then that would mean for Evelyn, her personal problem is thinking.
Yeah, and you look at symptom and response of desire versus ability. So she has a desire to do all these things, but she desires to be a singer and a chef or whatever her hobbies are, but then her abilities, well, she responds by trying to be capable and able, and at least on a personal level that hasn't worked out. Now,
especially in this universe, and it's not only that she has desires, but in my opinion that she has desires imposed upon her, like her
And then
father's desires, her daughter's desires. What do they desire of her? And she responds with abilities that can't deliver on her own desires or on the desires of others.
And then what is her thinking problem in terms of like the taxes and all that stuff in the beginning?
Well, she's dividing her mental attention. She's just dividing it up among too many things at once.
Thinking everywhere, and then
Yep.
at the end she knows what.
And in a turn of phrase, her solution is to know that all those petty little thoughts don't matter.
Okay.
When she embraces that they don't matter, then she embraces her that's when we get the answer in the parking lot. Well, should we go to the party or whatever? We can do whatever we want. It doesn't matter. And that resolves her personal angst.
That's also kind of, I think, why I thought she was changed, because isn't that kind of adopting the
we are assuming change at this point.
Yeah. Evelyn is changed.
She doesn't adopt it in a nihilist way, but she does in a nothing matters kind of anything is possible kind of way.
Right. That's why I say it was a turn on the phrasing there. That I thought was nicely done in the story, and I don't know that I can explain it, but you can feel it.
But I think, okay, here's the thing. So she retains the memory. She's retained all the knowledge of all these alternate universes, all these alternate lives, and that's given her a new perspective. And so the knowledge of what she's been through and what she's seen and experienced, I think
that works too.
You could argue has resolved her angst.
Okay. So that would be thought and knowledge. Does anybody have any other thoughts about other pairs?
Curious, what
in this quad?
In this area.
In this area, yeah.
What? Oh, I'm just thinking because I didn't really have a strong feeling there, but ability desire, I think would work really well if ability was her unique ability and desire was her critical flaw. I don't know if that would line up with this alignment.
No, that would be something totally different.
Okay.
The unique ability and critical flaw would be instinct, senses, interpretation, conditioning.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on that level.
Yeah, I would just try and think of a pair. And what's also neat is like in the objective story, whatever the problem is, that'll be where Evelyn is, right? That crucial element. And then the solution or what's being shown to her is the obstacle character's element.
But if you look at, okay, so doing the algorithms in my head, okay, so if we have the symptom response, and since it's a success story, go down to the relationship through line, take chaos and order as the symptom response, then the problem, interesting, the problem in the relationship is change and the solution is inertia. Okay, well, actually that makes sense when you think about what just happened. What happens is like, the relationship of Evelyn and Wayman is threatened by divorce papers, but they end up back to where they were. So in this case, inertia is the solution for their relationship. And with Joy, she the Joy just keeps saying, just let me go. And so, okay. but then ultimately they go back to what you could consider the inertia of the relationship with just being mother and daughter, just being members of the family. So I think you could argue that problem solution resolves that solution of inertia, going back to where we were, resolves each relationship in a positive way. So,
well, even before we do that, just because it can get kind of convoluted going to the other stuff, are there any other? Everybody's just totally on board with thought knowledge. Nobody has anything else?
Logic and feeling, but we're out of that quad.
yeah. Yeah.
I will say one other thing though, in support of thought as the problem. The card on the very first card, the question before the card shows up is, Evelyn, what are you thinking? And the card answers everything at once. And that sets us up on our problems. Or doesn't set us up, it sets up. It clarifies.
We see that at the beginning?
Yep.
Oh. Okay. Well,
there's a card for each one of those. Everything at once, everywhere, all at once.
Right. And I don't remember
the first one is and right before that card, everything what do you think? Everything at once, everything, whatever. The question is, one of the characters asks Evelyn, what are you thinking?
Okay. Interesting. Let's see if I can find that. Let's see.
I am not. I don't know what the right pair is. I am not sure. You guys are saying that you thought that thought was the not the concern, the condition. Thought was the condition, and that knowledge is the adjustment.
I would just do problem and solution. Nobody here knows.
Solution. Okay. So the thought is the problem, knowledge is the solution, is what the consensus is. Okay.
Sandy and Nick. Nobody else has said anything else.
Well,
really
I took Jazz's. I basically took Jazz's argument and turned chaos into the symptom, and
yeah. So I do.
So that's how we ended up there. Yeah.
So I do kind of agree. I agree with fate. I think because it is about like there's a number of fates along the path to destiny kind of thing, but I'm not convinced it's thought to knowledge. Do I know what it is? No, but I actually thought it's kind of opposite of what you guys are thinking. And I'm probably very wrong. I actually thought it went from order to chaos, to be honest. Or like in that other direction. Because it was all about trying to maintain order, even though everything's falling apart. Like the focus is, I don't know. And then and I don't know, I thought it kind of flowed order to chaos and knowledge to thought. If it was gonna flow, but this is where I got in trouble. So I don't know what the elements are because there's a little bit of everything in there. But I did get a feeling for fate. I also actually got a feeling for interdiction, actually. But I also was wondering about interpretation. But again, I'm really wrong, really out there. So yeah.
Why would you say interpretation for Evelyn?
I thought she was misinterpreting people's intentions, misunderstanding things, sort of not and also kind of interpreting what was the right way to go about taxes, even like So that's why I kind of thought it was interpretation, is like, what was the right, she thought that she could put down the karaoke machine, and that was her interpretation of that, and think, you know, for the taxes. And so that's why I thought it was interpretation, misinterpretation. She was sometimes like, I don't understand what's happening, or what's being said. So I thought there was some issue with interpretation. She was trying to interpret, she had trouble interpreting kind of Joy's underlying moods and intentions as well. Like, so kind of at the end, she thought that what she was going to say was going to make Joy happy, and it didn't. And because she still hadn't gotten the next layer of, well, what is uncovering, what is actually going on here in this moment. So I was getting interpretation vibes from her, to be honest, which would give us order, chaos, equity, and equity to think about for the OS.
For the main
So that-
character. And what about
Sorry,
interdiction?
yeah.
Why did you say interdiction?
Let me look up the definition real quick, because I get it confused. I'm going to pull it up right here. I said interdiction because it's kind of, I want to say, interfering with the predetermined. Like, or I guess, oh, so sorry. Now we're back to the OS. Apologies. OS interdiction. They're trying to, they're like trying to intercede for Joy, kind of. They're trying to change or alter the future path that the everything bagel is going. And so that's kind of why I thought interdiction. There were also other elements of, like, you can think of interdiction like intervening for someone. And so like Deidre sort of intervenes at times for the family. And yeah, so that's kind of why I was getting the interdiction vibrations, I'll say.
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry. Oh, I was muted. So, well, I was going to say, I would posit that interdiction is the OS catalyst, and interpretation is the main character unique ability. Because if you think about it, the main, unique ability is what allows the main character to solve the overall story problem, and her her interpretations as she puts forth to Joy to ultimately get Joy, Joe Butapaki to come back out of the bagels. So so I think you're right to sense the vibes there. It's question of whether or not it's the issue or the catalyst or unique ability. Okay. Jazz.
Just focus on the main character issue, which is what we're looking at right now. So like where the source of conflict is, like what is the inequitable things that are being explored in her like through line. Teresa had a bunch of really great illustrations of misinterpretations, gross necklaces, all that stuff. Like you got to bring an interpreter for the dad, totally misinterpreting Joy's intentions or what's going on there. So then, and then the interdiction ones I thought were really good too. So for the thought knowledge group, how would you see how is her instincts problematic for her? How's that being explored in the story? Like,
well, actually, honestly, I would take a lot of her examples for interpretation, and I could say that her instincts in a lot of ways are misplaced, and again, her instincts about her daughter, her instincts about
what's her instinct about her? What's her instinct about her daughter that's off?
That her instinct is, look, he's, your grandfather is, he's old fashioned. He's not going to understand. So just, play along. And she didn't, her instinct was that, that justification would be okay with her, or at least that would, appease her for now, but it didn't. It just made her, Joey more upset. So, yeah, well, yeah. Just trying to think of other examples.
Wasn't it more like an interpretation thing?
Well, yeah. I mean, either one. Again, I think they could. I think they both apply. Depends on how you word it, but if I look under, I'm looking under interpretation. If we, I see equity and inequity.
What is come to Jesus moment?
Hmm?
What is Evelyn's come to Jesus moment?
Someone else speaking.
Well, so this Nick, I'm not sure if I would call this a come to Jesus moment, but it's certainly the moment in which her arc happens, and that is when in the lobby, Waymond, who she has stabbed, says to her as she's about to fight off the people who are going to get between her and Joy, please, Evelyn, no more. And she takes into her heart then that she needs to fight with kindness. And then she says to Deidre, you are lovable.
Okay, well, go back. That's actually better. You actually talked about something which is tangentially connected, but perfect. So how does she fight the people to go up the stairs?
She basically starts healing a lot of them and fulfilling their wishes. So she gets two of them married. She sprays the one dude so that he becomes smelling like his wife. And she hugs Deidre, and I think she puts a cop in one of whoever he had as a bride together and something like that.
And she applies sadomasochism upon the one guy.
Oh yeah, that's right. I missed that scene. I forgot about that one.
I don't know if you know it, that's one of the directors. The guy.
Oh, that was one of the Daniels?
Yeah.
Okay, that's hilarious. Okay.
So that's perfect. So, and the authors are making the argument that she's doing the right thing, right?
Right.
So in terms of that healing and in terms of being kind, what element would that apply to if we were looking at well, what element does that apply to?
Desire?
Yeah, desire is like still wanting. There's still that longing, that wanting something. Look at and then this was what I was referring to, the come to Jesus moment, is in the parking lot when she talks to Joy, and she says, "I finally realize what? That no matter how screwed up everybody is, that there's somebody out there for somebody that will be there for them."
Yeah, that balances them out.
And to balance them out.
Yeah, I forgot that.
Oh, so that's the equity argument. Okay.
That's both how she defeats everybody in the objective story, defeats, right? Like all that going up the stairs. And then also personally, she sees her daughter's girlfriend as the person that's perfect for her. And she's also talking about Waymond, right? Like he's the perfect balance to her.
And at the beginning of her arc with inequity makes sense as well, because she has sort of been treated unfairly by her father, right? And she is treated unfairly by Deidre and the IRS, we could say. And then she, in turn, treats other people unfairly, right? But she is basically treated unfairly, which is where a lot of her problems stem from, or she thinks that's the case, and we kind of have some objective proof too. She was treated very unfairly by her father.
And she's also cheating on her taxes. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, she's trying to tilt
really
tilt
stretch
the
the
favor
truth.
of the she's trying to tilt the balance of the system in her favor for her taxes.
You think she's cheating?
thank you. Oh yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Writing off all the. I mean, this is being recorded, but I assume people
The
write off.
Watsu paraphernalia.
I assume what people do is they write off stuff for their business, even though, that might be for personal. I don't personally know that, but I'm sure that happens quite a bit.
Not in my household.
And then the objective story, right? Interdiction. I feel that's really, really super strong. And I know it's like totally meta, but like the fact that her father didn't stop her from leaving, didn't interdict. Right? And if the whole thing is about healing that past, she finally does that at the end because she doesn't let her daughter go. She actually intercedes. So what's super nice about that is if that is what it is, then if it is interpretation and interdiction, that means they'll be in the same spot for the obstacle or influence character and the relationship. So the influence character, both Waymond and Joy have circumstances issues. Right? Like his circumstances is he's feeling completely unfulfilled in the marriage and wants out. And then Joy, obviously, she's hurt and
Right. They both have emotional assessments going on.
100%.
I didn't understand that he wanted out. He said he was just doing that to get her attention so they could get their life more organized.
Yeah, because he's not feeling fulfilled in the
But
marriage.
I didn't ever get the understanding he really wanted a divorce. He didn't want out. He just wanted her attention for a conversation. He was going to use that.
He wanted to replicate the experience of another couple he knew that
Totally.
after the divorce papers sort of that shook them up and got them back to where they were. So
And
Yes.
you can see the sense of lack because when they went into the IRS building, he saw another Chinese older couple,
right.
where they kissed each other, and it's like the ghost that he wanted to have with his wife.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then in memories, so to me, the really moving stuff is when you have all the images of all, having birth, having the raising the child and all their stuff growing up and moving in together and starting the family. I think the issue of I know on the mother-daughter issue of suspicion is she's always going to say something. It's always going to be a problem, like just suspecting she's going to say this and she's going to behave a certain way because she's not going to want grandpa to know this. And so people cut each other off at the point of attack before they've had a chance to do it, just based on those suspicions as to what is going to be there. And then the idea of well, I suspect that our marriage would have been amazing if we didn't have, or, if I did laundry and taxes with you. That's a really heartfelt sort of emotional thing that is there. And then juxtaposed against all the evidence is all the imagery, all that flickering stuff.
Yeah, I think that works better than truth versus falsehood.
Right. There's
Yeah.
one moment there is a big thing about truth, and that, like you say, that might be like a catalyst or something like that. But I feel like that one feels stronger. And then for the influence character, then their problem will be speculation, which, I mean, Alpha Waymond, whoever Waymond is always talking about people's potential, right? Like speculating, and
Mhm.
also like Joy's whole thing is speculating that this is all a complete waste of time. You know, what's the possibility that
So sorry, we're saying that the problem is speculation and the solution is projection. Is that
or
where
the
we're,
influence
or is it the other
character?
way around? Hmm?
So
No, the
like,
problem is speculation, and and of course, as a steadfast influence character, they never get to solution or whatever projection.
yeah, so it's like, you know, somebody at the beginning had said, "Oh, they're totally different people," but they're both speculative. They're just different directions. Like he's looking at all the potential that she has in her, and then Joy is looking at all the potential that isn't in the world.
Okay, and we still have the symptom of desire and the response of ability.
Yeah,
That's okay. That's in the influence character. Okay.
and also in the objective story. I mean,
Hmm.
everybody's looking for abilities to fight.
Well, oh, right, because the problem is the problem, the critical or the crucial element is inequity.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the bagel. The bagel is an inequity.
Right, right. Okay. And then ability, desire, so the oh well, okay. So the problem, okay, well the problem in the uh relationship through line would be self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
And when self-aware is problem, that means you're too self-conscious, you're too, you know, inside you, and your solution is to be aware of the other. So in a relationship where both people are too much, you know, just thinking about how this affects me, um is keeps, you know, keeps the relationship in conflict. um but when there is an awareness of the other, more of an awareness, and you certainly see that, I mean, that certainly applies to the Evelyn Joy conversation in the parking lot. It's like they finally have become aware of each other. um so that, yeah, that's a really good one right there. But again, yeah, the problem is self-aware. It's like, you know, it still gets what's going on inside Joy's head. What the heck? You know, and she's overly self-aware. She's just so aware of how much hurt she's feeling, which still doesn't make sense to me, but you know, but again, who understands teenagers? But so, you know, so again, when the overtures of awareness, mutual awareness are presented, that finally resolves the conflict in the relationship. So well, that's good.
Yeah, being sensitive to each other for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have catalyst inhibitor or benchmark picked yet.
What are the choices?
For which one? Would you like
Um,
unique ability of the main character,
what's unique ability?
instinct, or senses?
Okay. What are the benchmark choices for, let's say, for the overall
I think
story?
her unique ability is instinct.
What are senses? What do senses mean here? Is
Physical
it
senses. So like your eyes, your feeling, your hands, minus a leg.
well, she depends on
Seeing.
that. She depends on that to act correctly as she goes through these different dimensions. There is that.
Mm-hmm.
So the benchmark in the OS, your choices are the future or the present.
Well, I actually thought our unique ability would be more instinct than senses because when she first even puts on the headset and stuff, they're like, "Wow, like you're like a natural at it." And she can really and she sort of instinctually picks like the awful random things she has to do to like switch universes. And she may not know exactly what she's gonna get from that, but I kind of thought it was more instinct as her unique ability. But I could be wrong. Oh, there it says senses, so maybe I am wrong.
Well, instinct gives you holistic. So you were consistent through the end.
In that story for Jim, what you have mental sex of male? Okay, yeah.
This is male, and then this is the female.
Let me see. Let's see you got your own language there.
You
So
can wait this
catalyst,
way.
catalyst is fate. Catalyst is fate, and benchmark is present. Unique ability is instinct, and the benchmark is learning. And then ability is state of being. Conceiving.
So for me, I like Catalyst in the OS, a prediction, which is the male PS style. It seems like every time that we're getting into more problems, it's as people are predicting what's going to be about to happen. And the story starts moving faster.
I don't know. When it comes to the relationship, my strongest feeling here is that the benchmark should be in innermost desires, not contemplations.
And prediction as a catalyst in the OS gives you innermost desires as a benchmark in relationship.
Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it does.
And that gives us male mental sex, or
that gives you, yes, male mental sex.
Okay. Wow, you got quite a program laid out.
So the benchmarks would all be in that quad, the lower left. And that kind of works well for Joy and or Wayman, the changing of their natures, especially for Joy.
Yeah, and when it comes to benchmark of obtaining or learning, I think the fact that she doesn't, the fact that she doesn't lose everything is kind of a deal, for her personal life, apart from her role as a protagonist, from her personal life, she's on the verge of losing her marriage, losing her business, losing her daughter, and she doesn't. And yes, you could argue learning. I mean, that's certainly a signpost, but I feel like it's a more measure of her personal success to that she hasn't lost her whole life.
Well, one of the synonyms is keeping.
So, and I, again, relationship, I think innermost desires is much stronger than contemplations. And in terms of the overall story, the multiverse is saved, so there is a future, and there is a future for everybody, even Grandpa, and
they used only the best schmear.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is a stronger benchmark for the OS than present. So does that, where are we? So I'm arguing for the other problem solving style, which than what's showing on the screen right now. So
I'm still waiting. Mine will take a while just because it's one I don't have. But...
Right.
Does anybody have any? What is your relationship story, Catalyst, and the one that you like?
Evidence. So as a well, okay, so it just gets funny talking about the relationship as a unit. Or I should say I'm not facile enough with that idea.
We'll get facile, damn
I know.
it.
But so evidence is information one gathers to develop an understanding about something. And certainly Joy is gathering evidence by killing off the wrong Evelyns. And even Alpha Wayman is saying is finding evidence about whether or not this is the right the Evelyn. And then he finds out, and then he deduces that, well, you're so bad at everything, maybe you could be the right one. Which is a backhanded slap compliment if I ever saw one. And these are evidences that would move as a catalyst, they move the relationship along its way. And I think we're saying that either relationship moves to a more positive spot. And the inhibitors in a relationship is interdiction. So the more they try to stop things, the worse the relationship will get.
Yeah, because I'm not feeling a relationship catalyst of truth. That doesn't line up for me.
Yeah, the idea that believing that everything is not worth anything, nothing matters.
I think you could. I don't think that's about truth. I mean, if anything, that's about interpretation. But
Because they're like
but that
being honest with each other.
The truth behind what each person believes and honestly believes is like, that's the mother-daughter one. And then I like truth for the husband-wife one, because it's like, I would be better off without you.
Well, and it can be staying true to each other too, whether, when the moments where they decide to stay true to each other. And then also in regards to truth, the moments where they are more authentic with each other, that authenticity can be a form of truth, and those moments of authenticity propel the relationship forward. I think. And in regards to benchmark of main character, I think you talked about obtaining as a benchmark.
That's correct.
I have a lot of trouble seeing how obtaining gives us clues as to she's getting closer and closer to the intention of the story and the conclusion of the story. It seems like when she learns something, when she learns or kind of, I think someone here mentioned like absorbs or takes in about the joy, like the lesson from, oh, you know what? I'm learning here, joy is actually the way I'm going to fight things. And then that indicated she was getting closer to kind of what she needed to do to resolve her tension and her personal issues. So I really did see it as learning, not obtaining. I do have a hard time seeing it as obtaining. Obviously I'm pro holistic. But I will of course, bow to the group consensus. But I do have a really hard time seeing obtaining as benchmark.
So, well, we've agreed on very little. We've had very little consensus throughout, but at least we know it's success good. Yeah.
Well, that's why I try not to, like, I did build it beforehand. And I actually had male and I had action, right? But I didn't want to be like, oh, okay, we're just going to sit here in 20 minutes. I'm just going to say, okay, this is what I think the story form is. That's why I wanted to give everybody a chance to say something. But I think it means a lot that everybody was really balanced on both sides and everybody had like a lot of really good illustrations of it. To me, just through experience, sounds more like something you would see in a, what I would say, female mental sex or holistic problem solving style story, where it's a little harder for people to be able to just say, okay, this is definitely the problem, this is definitely the solution. And yeah, she's like got some kindness and equity at the end, but there's still also that holistic female mental sex thing where there's like a balance between the two. It's like, yeah, we can do whatever we want, nothing matters, but we can be kind to each other. And that to me speaks more like towards what the film was. Then I think of the directors. Then I think of the fact that it's just the Matrix. So it's like that is it's not fair, to bring that into play, but that is what I will do. That the same sort of mindset, if you look at their films, the Daniels brothers, all they do is female mental sex stories. Like the farting Harry Potter dead guy, dead Harry Potter. Which is a great film. I don't know if anybody's seen that. I can't remember what it was called, but very much that same sort of looking at the balance between everything, as opposed to like, hey, here's a problem and here's a solution we have to solve. Because, like I said, I originally thought male because it's like, here we got to save the world and do that kind of thing. But then, if I look specifically at the point where once she's been introduced to her great life in Hollywood or whatever, she tries to keep that in play while also doing this other thing. It's not like she moves over to that and like, hey, I'm just going to do this and get rid of the other thing, which would be more of a problem solving. She's trying to justify being able to be in both places at once, which is kind of the point of the story. And then I thought the baseball bat, that to me is what convinced it to me, because that's such a female mental sex or a holistic problem solving thing where I just have to release energy somehow so I can get it out of me so then I can readjust and find some other way to deal with things. That would be my interpretation of it. And I also, I had action, but then when Levi brought up he brought up Matrix, but then it's clearly like decision, like red pill, blue pill, or you can take your shoes off, put them on the wrong feet, go this direction, go that direction. Then the midpoint about, are you going to kill your daughter or not? And then at the end, how you're going to deal with like fighting her, I think is much more with this. Plus, it makes her more fish out of water, right? Like a doer and a decision story where she doesn't feel like she has all the necessary things to be able to facilitate driving the plot. She's always like one step behind. I kind of like that idea better as well. So that would be my 2 cents. I try not to put everything in the front because I know I have a tendency to just say, no, this is the way it goes. And then never just so I tried to balance that in there. But that would be my side of things as to why I would tend to veer more towards the female mental sex. Also, the state of being, like who they are. He's just silly. He's just a ridiculous person. Is a way of challenging and has a impact on an Evelyn as well. And the fact I liked conditioning as a critical flaw because he can't, when he's not alpha Waymond, he can't push bookshelves because everything's heavy. Or like when he has to move like a desk or something, he's like, it's too heavy because physically not conditioned to do what is there. And then also Joy has less of an impact by virtue of all the conditioning that she had growing up by being underneath her mom's care. Less of a impact on her. So, but it could be, it's everything everywhere all at once. We usually don't go 3 hours. So
Yeah.
They covered a lot of ground, and it was
You didn't even talk much about Rakakuni. So.
we didn't even talk about Rakakuni.
Oh yeah. And did you know that's Randy Newman singing?
I
He's-
did
And
notice the
well,
influence. I didn't know that it was actually him. It's fun.
It's
I
what?
saw the credits. He's also the voice of Rakakuni.
Yeah.
Well, I heard him doing the "You Got a Friend in Me" kind of thing, but
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was him.
He's like, she's seen too much. We got to get rid of her.
Mhm.
Which I thought was super cool. All right. Well, that'll be it. I think we'll send out emails with the right links as far as like picking the next one, because I know we haven't decided yet. Unless somebody has something that isn't iRobot. I know Chris wanted to do that in October. If anybody has anything recent that they're interested in, do you want to like throw it out there now? Or you can email me later.
I always thought the second Borat movie was
Okay.
very interesting because one, the relationship story is very striking. Two, there's clear main character, clear impact character, and the overall story, of course, turns out to be something different than we know, right? That it all because we don't know what the overall story is really until the end. Um, so um,
Oh,
so I
that
always
could be
thought
fun.
that might be a fun discussion.
Well,
Giuliani, the contagonist.
his show, so he decide.
Yeah, it's like it's called subsequent movie film. You know,
Yeah.
that-
Pretty much
right.
Yeah,
Of course.
It's the COVID era Borat. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send that to him and see what because he'll be back for the next one for sure.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds
All right.
good. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thanks,
so
everyone.
Thanks. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks for staying
Yeah.
up late.
Nice to meet you.
And we'll send an email with the next one.
Terrific. Yeah. Send it to me. I'll pass it on.
You got
Thanks,
it.
Thanks, Jim.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you next
Bye.
time. Bye.
And Jim, I have a question.
Yeah,
It
what?
is still recording, right?
I can stop the recording, yeah.
Okay, it's not